Hi everyone, my name is Madison Weast, and I am doing my final project on how virtual museums and field trips can be used in your classroom. Let's get started. Virtual museums and field trips are an inexpensive way to explore the world around us using a computer, laptop, tablet, or other piece of technology, and it gives us an up-close view of art, culture, places, and things all around us. And you can do this at a free or low cost. You're probably wondering why an educator would want their students to stay in the classroom rather than be out exploring, getting a hands-on view of different things. And I will tell you that because this is basically free, it is a great piece of technology to utilize. Some do require a small fee, but once you pay that fee, you're granted access to a ton of different curriculum-based field trips and museums. Not only is it cost effective, it also reduces issues that regular field trips present, such as transportation, safety, and time. Money and time are a huge factor in this, and they can limit the location and number of actual out-of-the-classroom field trips that a school can attend. So virtual field trips and museums help students learn beyond textbooks and make real-world connections to different concepts, especially concepts that you're learning about in your classroom. Because field trips are so exciting and it's such an experience for students, it will help retain their interest and help them stay focused on the task at hand. Students of all ages can benefit from this amazing use of technology. Not only do students benefit, but the entire classroom benefits, the school district, the educators benefit. They're not having to worry about, can we fit this in? Can we get there in time? Can we afford this? The school district can provide you with the technology that they have, and you can use that to explore and expand on knowledge. Parents also benefit from being able to use virtual museums and field trips and stay in the classroom. They don't have to worry about, is my child safe? The child is safe in the classroom at all times, just like a normal day at school. Anyone can use these websites and resources. Now this can be for preschool teachers, this can be for 12th grade teachers, any grade in between. These teachers can be from public schools, private schools, they can be used at home with parents, or even tutors can use them. There are hundreds of different options online based off of lesson plans written by actual teachers, so you know that they are linked to curriculum and you know that they are what your students are supposed to be learning. It is used in the classroom in a variety of ways. It is not only used to view museums and national landmarks, but it's also used to bring field experts into the classroom. If your students are very interested or they're learning about fossils and archaeology, you can have an actual archaeologist talk to your students about their job and their day and what it takes to become an archaeologist. I have listed here an example of a way that you can utilize the time after, because the time after is so important to your students to discuss what they saw, what they heard, and you can do this in a variety of follow-up extensions such as this questionnaire. This helps to really cement the information in your student's mind. So you can also do this by making connections from what they know using a think, pair, share method. This is when students reflect on what they just heard or saw. They come up with a few different things that they learned. They pair up with another student in the classroom, and then the two of them share what they just learned. You can also have students connect with other students at other schools in other countries via technology. This can be using Facebook, Twitter, or even Skype, and that's utilizing another free way for your students to build off of what they just learned. You can also have students create a creative presentation. This could be a skit, an iMovie, a PowerPoint, and it doesn't just have to be about what the field trip was about. It can be in connection to what you're learning about in the classroom. And it's also very important at this point to make real-world connections to things in their life. My tip for everyone is to find ones that allow live engagement for questions in real time. In one of my resources, I had a teacher say that she was doing one on the eclipse, and the person giving the virtual tour actually had an email address that you could send questions to, and she would answer them on the video in real time. We are now going to watch a short virtual tour of the city of Rome as an example of what you can use in your classroom.
That's Italian for hello friends, welcome to beautiful Rome. Today we will continue our amazing journey throughout Rome, the eternal city. No discussion about art and religion can be complete without a tour of Vatican City, where we can find St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican Museums, and the Sistine Chapel. Vatican City, with its 1,000 residents, occupies less than a square mile, but has its own radio station, newspaper, post office, and even a small train station. It's been a sovereign state since 1929 and is the smallest independent city-state in the world. Vatican City may be small in geography, but it possesses immense global power. As the head of the Catholic Church, it is a strong influence in the daily lives of more than 1.2 billion people worldwide. The popes have lived here in Vatican City since the end of the 14th century. Then and now, the city-state is surrounded by a medieval wall which helps define its borders. Protecting the Pope at all times is the Swiss Guard. Do not let the uniform fool you. These are highly trained and skilled soldiers. As the name implies, the Swiss Guard are elite military personnel from Switzerland, and their uniforms were designed by Michelangelo. The centerpiece of Vatican City is St. Peter's Square, known as Piazza San Pietro here in Rome. It may not come as a surprise to know that this majestic square was designed by none other than Bernini, and is considered to be another of his architectural marvels. The columns or colonnades that create the majestic perimeter are crowned with the statues of 140 saints, all gazing down over the piazza. To the right of the basilica are the papal apartments. When in town, the Pope appears in a window here each Sunday to bless the faithful gathered here at St. Peter's. Dominating the piazza is the largest of all Christian buildings, St. Peter's Basilica. It is believed to stand on the spot where the Apostle Peter was buried after his crucifixion by the Romans. The Borghese Gardens are popular with Romans and visitors alike. Just like this place, the always bustling Piazza Navona. It's a busy square where you can find street artists, outdoor cafes, restaurants, and gelato stands. It was designed by, you guessed it, Bernini, and built on the ruins of Emperor Domitian's Stadium. The crowning glory of the piazza is the Fountain of the Four Rivers, another Bernini design. It sounds more fascinating though when we call it by its Italian name, Fontana dei Quattro Fiumi. We can see four figures representing the four corners of the known world at the time. A short walk away is the iconic Pantheon, a pagan temple that became a church and is now a monument. The word Pantheon means all gods, and it's where the many gods of the empire were once worshipped. Its grand and imposing presence has symbolized Roman greatness since antiquity. The Pantheon is one of two monuments belonging to ancient Rome that has survived undamaged. It was completed in 27 BCE and is the best preserved building from the Roman Empire. It's also considered to be one of the greatest buildings in the history of European architecture. Proudly for the Romans, it's one of the few ancient buildings that have been in continuous use for more than 2,000 years, and is the burial place of kings, queens, and several painters, including Raphael. The Pantheon has been a source of inspiration to architects all over the world through the ages. And long before there was the Dome of St. Peter's, there was the Dome of the Pantheon. We hope you enjoyed traveling in the footsteps of time with us today, as we explore the many ways that Rome has earned its title as the Eternal City.
And that's just one way that you can utilize virtual museums and field trips in your classroom. Virtual visits and on-site visits have a lot of pluses and minuses. But the reality is that a lot of schools are cutting back on off-campus trips, whether it be because they want their students in the classroom learning or because there's money cutbacks. But field trips, regardless, can generate a rich experience that's tied to the curriculum. Often students recall more information from electronic trips because rather than having a distracting bus ride right after, you're able to go right into your follow-up extensions and allow your students to work off of what they just learned. And technology allows teachers to plan special events more frequently. You can travel the world in 5 days if you want to because it's so easy and it's so quick. And videos just like the one we saw were only 5 minutes, but you learned so much information. So it's just so easy for teachers to be able to help their students learn more. It's a very interactive way of learning. And although virtual does not replace on-site, it does enhance what students learned in the class. Here I'm going to touch on a few different examples that I found in my research. During each one, I have 2 for each, and I chose science, history, and art. For science, the first one I chose was the Franklin Institute Science Museum. This is a Philadelphia-based museum that offers a number of interesting exhibits for students that relates to their curriculum. There's the 2003 flight forecast, which helps students learn how to analyze historical weather data. And also there is an exhibit called The Journey in Time, which is about clocks and gears and sundials and a history of time in our world. The last one I chose was the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. Exhibits there include ones about AIDS, Apollo 8, the coal mine, and much more. For history, I chose the American Museum of Natural History, which is one of the world's foremost scientific and educational institutions. It contains tons of specimens and cultural artifacts such as fossils for your students to learn about. The last one I chose is the American Red Cross Virtual Museum. This is an online museum produced by the American Red Cross and Education Center, where students can explore one of 6 eras and take a guide through the cultural history of the American Red Cross. For art, I chose first the Metropolitan Museum of Art because it is such a widely known museum. Their online virtual museum options are amazing. The Met actually houses one of the largest, most prestigious collections of art worldwide, which is more than 2 million works of art. And their online exhibits have more than 5,000 years of world culture. The last one I chose was the Comic Art and Graphics Virtual Museum. That presents a history of comic art and biographies of artists and a list of related comic links. And it also includes sections on collecting comics and how to create comics. Here is my paper. And here are my references. Thank you so much for watching.